Imagine waking up to a life where every day is a battle, where survival means hiding extra bread in your clothes just to get through the day. This was Durga's reality. A young woman from a modest town in India, she dreamed of a life of learning, working, and building a future. But after her marriage, that dream was shattered by cruelty that left her hungry and alone, facing humiliation in the very home meant to protect her. Her husband, far from being her partner, became her tormentor, and she found herself in a society where every hand she reached for only offered judgment, not support. This isn't just Durga's story, it's the story of every woman who has ever been told she's not enough. Stay with us to hear how she transformed unimaginable hardship into a powerful journey of courage, showing us all that true strength comes from within. Don't click away, this is a story of survival, courage, and the unstoppable spirit of one woman.
Durga didn't wake up one morning. Her family grew concerned and knocked on her door, only to find her unconscious on the floor when they entered. She had suffered a breakdown, exhausted from the weight of her struggles. Hello everyone. Today we bring you the story of Durga, a young woman from a middle-class family in Madhya Pradesh, India. Born into a family where only essential needs could be met, dreams were luxuries. But Durga's father ensured she received a solid education, determined that she would never be held back. When she started college, Durga decided to ease her father's financial burden by working part-time as a tutor. Life seemed to be moving in a positive direction until she married Ravi. They were deeply in love, and together they became known as the lovable couple on social media. One of their videos went viral, gaining millions of views. Their online fame grew, and they became known for their heartwarming videos as a family. But life's challenges were never far away. Just when everything seemed perfect, Durga faced immense social pressure and societal expectations. Comments began surfacing about her lack of children, with people gossiping and passing judgment. The weight of this judgment broke her spirit, leading her to retreat from her studies and dreams. She was diagnosed with severe depression, where passing out unexpectedly became normal. Around this time, Ravi took a job, which required him to be away for days. Durga's health continued to decline. One day, she collapsed and was found unconscious by her family, leading to a string of medical treatments. Despite the mental and physical strain, Durga decided to continue her studies and enrolled in a Master of Education program. It seemed like a new chapter might finally begin. Then the COVID-19 lockdown struck. Isolated at home, Durga began creating videos with her family, just for fun. Durga found joy in creating content, but soon after, the app was banned, and another source of happiness faded. Durga focused on her studies once again. She returned to her parents' house, unaware that her world was about to change forever. Just days before her exams, she received a call that Ravi, his husband, was ill and had difficulty breathing. Panic gripped her heart as she tried to reach him. Her calls went unanswered, and she sensed something was terribly wrong. Then a call came in. Her brother-in-law informed her that Ravi was being taken to the hospital. The world seemed to stop as she waited anxiously, her mind racing with worry and hope that everything would be okay. But when she arrived at the hospital, a nurse took her aside and informed her that Ravi was gone. She had lost the love of her life. Durga's world had turned upside down. The dreams they had built together were shattered. The journey of their love had ended. She lost her consciousness. When Durga regained consciousness, she found herself back at home. Her young daughter was singing a song, her sweet voice filling the room, but Durga couldn't focus. She had only one question racing through her mind. What happened to my husband, Ravi? He had been perfectly fine when he was admitted to the hospital, only having trouble breathing. But after that, everything went silent. Her family kept telling her, "You'll know in time," without giving her any answers. Desperate to find out, Durga begged to be taken to the hospital, but her family held her back, insisting she was still too weak. Days passed, and her frustration grew as she wondered why no one was willing to give her a straight answer. Finally, on the 10th day after Ravi's passing, Durga could bear the silence no longer. She recorded a video from her room, pleading for support, and posted it on social media. She poured her heart out, expressing the emptiness she felt and the devastating loss. She felt stripped of everything but her bare existence, as if even her soul had been taken. "My world changed in a second," she said. and suddenly everyone and everything around me had also changed. The video struck a chord, spreading like wildfire across social media. By morning, reporters, politicians, and even local news stations were standing outside her home, all wanting to hear her story. Her family didn't want her speaking to the press, but Durga had questions that couldn't be silenced. Through this new wave of attention, she learned a few details. Ravi had been admitted to the hospital with mild symptoms of COVID, and a doctor had only recommended oxygen. But Durga wondered why he hadn't been moved to the ICU if he was seriously ill. Why was he only in a general ward? And if things weren't critical, why wasn't his blood pressure even checked? She demanded answers, but each visit to collect his medical report led to being told to come back on another date. Every time she arrived, they gave her the same dismissive response with no report in hand. In her search for answers, she went to the district collector's office, only to hear, "So many people die every day. We can't track every case." This callous response crushed her spirit. She returned home empty-handed, still desperate to understand what had happened. Durga's life took a painful new direction that day, as she realized she was now an alone woman in society's eyes. Expectations piled onto her. She should live quietly where white, take care of her child, and step back into obscurity. But how could she do that? With no financial stability, she questioned herself, her place, and her future. Then one day, her young daughter approached her with a request for something she saw on YouTube. That moment stirred Durga's will to fight. She couldn't simply sit and wallow. She needed to provide for her daughter. Taking her first step, Durga posted a story on social media, receiving a small payment of 500 rupees. It wasn't much, but it was the first spark of independence she'd felt since everything had happened. As she began to see potential in social media, she continued her journey with social media. During the second wave of COVID-19 and the lockdown that followed, her income became even more critical. Slowly, brand collaborations came her way, and Durga began creating and posting videos featuring dresses and products that brands sent her. After losing her husband, Durga faced a whole new struggle in a society that saw widows through a lens of stigma and limitation. The very first criticisms came from her in-laws, who taunted her with, "You're moving on too quickly." They questioned her right to continue living her life without lingering in mourning. She wondered, what was I supposed to do, mourn forever? Would that bring my husband back? But society's expectations didn't stop there. As a widow, Durga was met with unwelcome rules from every corner. Widows shouldn't wear bright or new clothes, they shouldn't be seen laughing, and they should keep their heads covered and eyes lowered. Any attempt to go out or start anew was frowned upon. She wasn't supposed to apply makeup, wasn't expected to speak openly, and was most certainly not to appear active on social media. A widow, she was told, should live quietly, fading into the background of life. Yet, Durga refused to let these limitations define her. Ignoring society's judgment, she started creating content on YouTube, determined to build a stable future for herself and her daughter. Social media, a path she had once shared with her husband, now became her only means to earn and rebuild her life. People questioned her move to become active online, saying, "A widow shouldn't be out there posting videos." But Durga knew this was the only way she could provide for her child. Undeterred, Durga traveled to Delhi to live near her sister. Her goal was to start a small business, but financial constraints held her back. She went to banks to request a loan, but was met with layers of bureaucracy and often dismissal. After relentless efforts, she finally secured enough funding to rent a modest home and open a small boutique she named Durga Boutique. She had only a few clothes to start with, but she poured her energy into making it work, determined to create something in her own name. Yet even this modest success was tainted by criticism from others who insisted that a widow had no place being seen or thriving in public. Some neighbors even harassed her, saying she should wear nothing but white, stay in mourning, and quietly accept her loss. Durga's own in-laws would call to criticize her, telling her she was dishonoring her late husband by not conforming to tradition. For them, she should sit silently, head covered, in the corner of a room endlessly grieving. Durga chose to defy these expectations. She realized that society's support always came with conditions. In this culture, support often means agreeing to be subservient, to grieve publicly to prove your loyalty to the deceased. But Durga's love and respect for her husband didn't require her to abandon herself. So Durga speaks to other women in similar situations saying, "You are not helpless. Do not think of yourself as a victim of circumstance." She made a vow to keep pushing forward, telling herself that her daughter deserves not just her presence but her strength. She deserves a future free from societal limitations. As Durga took these steps forward, her journey became a powerful reminder that a woman's life and worth do not end with the loss of a husband. In a male-dominated society, Durga realized that women are often seen as helpless or in need of a hand to pull them through difficult times. She had heard it countless times, whispers and comments that without a husband, a woman is stranded, weak, or incomplete. But she knew better. And as she looked around, she thought about the countless women who could rise if only they believed in their own strength. Durga was determined to prove everyone wrong, not just for herself, but for her daughter and the values she wanted to pass on. She thought, if anyone tries to threaten my peace or hurt my daughter, I'll be there strong and fearless. I am the strength my daughter looks to. I am my own support, my own future. No one else will determine what I am capable of. She shared her journey publicly and encouraged other women to never let society limit them. As women, she said, we can manage our lives, children, and even carry nations. Why should we rely on anyone else for our strength? She was tired of people implying that she needed help or couldn't succeed on her own. In reality, Durga had discovered that much of the help offered came with strings attached, some expectations in return. But she refused to trade her dignity for sympathy. She declared proudly, "I am enough for myself and for my daughter, and I want every woman to feel that same power." Her story was a reminder that even in a patriarchal society, a woman's capabilities have no bounds. If a woman is clear in her intentions, honest in her work, and dedicated to her path, she doesn't need anyone to pave the way for her. She can forge her own. Durga believed every woman could be extraordinary, with or without support, as long as her purpose was clear and her heart determined. We can achieve our dreams, not by waiting but by pursuing. Women should not just exist but live fully. We have dreams worth chasing, responsibilities to fulfill, and a legacy to leave for those who will walk after us, she said. Her journey became a powerful testament to all women to rise, thrive, and create a future on their terms. For those who doubted her, Durga's message was loud and clear. I'll raise my daughter with everything she deserves, and I'll show the world what a woman with purpose can accomplish. I am the hero of my story. Let Durga's powerful story inspire you, and remember to subscribe, like, and share to support her journey and those like hers.
Please tell me, what would you do if everyone betrayed you? Do not forget to like and share this true story from India. Subscribe for more unbelievable stories.